why this $80 drone might be better than a Mavic Air. Now let's review.
So Jesse, an $80 drone, I mean, what's that going to get you? I feel like drones are always way more expensive. I mean, what are the perks to getting a better one?
So as someone who's been flying drones for quite a while, I want to stress something that if you haven't flown a drone before, you are probably not picturing, which is that you buy a drone, it costs somewhere between $600 and you can go, there's basically sky is the limit
Right.
For how much you can spend on a drone. And so it's really that first takeoff where you realize, oh, this is a very fragile piece of equipment that's hanging in the air. And if it falls out of the sky, it's going to break. And it's a really scary feeling to be flying a drone, and especially because you might not realize it, but most places are not friendly for flying drones. If you are anywhere near trees, if you are anywhere near telephone poles or power lines, basically if there's anything other than an empty open field, you're going to be nervous flying your drone. And so having a drone that costs $80 is really going to change your mindset completely about drone flying. So let's talk about this drone. Let's talk about some of its features. Let's talk about some of its downsides. This is the Eachine E520S. So let me show you how we were able to connect this to my phone and how we were able to fly it.
Awesome.
All right, so I just got this drone hooked up, and as you can see, it has a live video feed with pretty low latency, and it should have a bunch of different functionality. I've been reading through the manual. It's not the most well-written manual in the world, but it's not the worst. There's a lot of different functionality that you can use in here. We should have self-stabilizing, waypoint, which should be interesting, follow, and orbit. Those are the main functions there. And you should be able to set a waypoint path on a map. I mean, that's the same sort of functionality you'd get with a higher end drone. It's just a matter of whether it's going to do it and whether it's going to look good. So in order to get this all hooked up, this is a Wi-Fi connection, and you use your little QR codes there. So I just have the app on my phone, then you head over to your Wi-Fi. You're gonna connect to, basically it's gonna be this long string of letters and numbers. It's gonna say Wi-Fi. So you connect to that, it'll have no internet access. It's kind of obvious. Then you head back to your app, you hit start, and then it'll just be connected. I have to say, it's a lot easier than connecting a DJI product. DJI usually requires you go through some kind of a connections process where you need to hit a button on the drone, and then you need to hit some button on your phone, and then you have to do all sorts of connecting garbage. So this was actually pretty simple and easy, and you can control it from your app as well as being able to control it from your little controller here. You're also able to put your phone as a part of your controller, so that way you can see what the drone is seeing. This should have a range of, they were saying about 300 to 400 meters, which is pretty decent. It's nothing amazing, but for the price, it is amazing. So the first thing that I really like about this drone is how easy it is to connect to the controller and to your phone. So I've turned it on. It's now looking for the controller signal. I turn on the controller, and pretty soon, I believe, yeah, it's connected. So that's really nice. So there are a few things that you should do before you fly the drone. The first one is a gyro calibration. And so it just uses this. It's currently doing the gyro calibration, and now it's done. It is gyro calibrated.
So what does that mean? It knows which way is up, which way is down?
Yeah, it's just making sure that it knows that gravity is down. So the next step is compass calibration. So to do the compass calibration, there's just a simple button that you press. You're gonna rotate it counterclockwise 3 times. And they say to be about a meter off the ground. Next you do it clockwise, facing this way. And you could do this folded up so it looks a lot less like a drone. It seemed to like that, so now it's all set, like really set. The next thing we're gonna do is connect my phone, and the way you do that is you connect your Wi-Fi to the drone itself. The nice thing that I like about this is that it starts right up. There's no connection process at all, which again is different than the DJI. All right, so I'm getting a live feed of what the camera is seeing. So you're actually seeing Zach filming us there. And we can look over
Zach sitting next
at any of us. Hello. So I'm gonna first just do some, I'm just gonna double check that I can film. So it looks like I can do that. And basically all I did, there is a button that you can press on the controller itself, to begin filming or taking pictures, or you can do it directly from the app. All right, so I've got the controller linked, I've got my phone linked, and I'm ready to fly. So I'm gonna just do some manual flight just to see how it feels. So I was able to take it off right from the grass. Overall, it's flying pretty good. It kind of has this weird feeling to it where it's drifting a bit. So right now I'm not touching any of the controls, and normally with a a Mavic or something, there wouldn't be any sort of drift at all. You can see that the wind is kind of carrying it around a little bit, it's buffeting it, and I mean, we're getting about a stiff breeze, I would say. It's moving it around, and I can see from the footage here that it's looking a little shaky. So the problem that we have with this drone is that it doesn't have a gimbaled camera. So one of the things that makes the DJI so nice, but also one of the things that makes it so expensive, is that it has a gimbaled camera, which means that the camera is actually remaining stationary as the drone's doing all sorts of things. It's on a little gimbal. This is just a camera strapped to a drone, so we don't get that. So I'm just gonna put it through its paces. There should be 3 different speeds. So this should be at its top speed, and that's not bad. So you notice that when I really speed it up, it loses quite a bit of altitude, and then at the end of its run, it kind of is, it's moving all around. So one of the downsides about this particular version of the drone that we got is that it doesn't have a moving camera. So you can physically with your fingers tilt the camera up and down, but while it's up in the air, my arms just aren't long enough to do that. So now I'm gonna take a second, I'm gonna actually tilt the drone camera down, so that way we get a different angled shot. It's going to be looking more down, which would be good kind of for a follow shot. So let's take a peek at that. Now it's having a little trouble flying. Again, we have that stiff breeze, and we're getting pretty low on battery. You can see how much altitude it loses when I go forward, and then it climbs back up. So from the footage, you might be noticing that this is pitching all around, especially when I'm going forward and back. And again, that's the problem with the drone that doesn't have a gimbal. So it has reached 25%, and I believe it's going into the return home function, or it's basically just giving me a warning, letting me know that the battery is close to dead. We haven't been flying it for that long, and I'm just gonna land it. So the drone comes with these little teeny tiny lithium ion batteries. Now I say teeny tiny because if you've seen drone batteries before, they usually take up, 60% of the drone's weight is the battery, if not more. And these are pretty small. So they fit right in the back, kind of like you'd expect. Pull it out easy like that. Slide the next one back in. Now here's the thing that I really like about these batteries. You see that? That is a micro USB port. You can charge this thing like a phone. It plugs in directly. I really like that feature. On the contrary, the Mavic Air has a huge clunky charger with a big brick. It has to plug in to a large outlet, a 110 outlet here in the States, and it's just very inconvenient for transportation. Now I want to try out some of the functionality that this drone has. Obviously you can fly it manual all you like, but they actually put in some features that I think are pretty impressive. So the first one is orbit. I have not had any luck with it so far. Basically you fly over whatever you want it to orbit. Then you hit the orbit button on the controller, and it should fly away from me and then turn around and start doing an orbit automatically without me doing anything. So I mean, it's pointing at me. That's kind of what I wanted. Let me start recording. Now if I go left or right, I can make it go up and down. I can't seem to affect anything else. I can make it go in or out. That seems to be about it. Yeah, overall it doesn't seem to want to do it. It's just sort of flying around. All right, so I'm gonna shut that off. I'm gonna see if I can do my own orbit. Ultimately, I don't think that this is the type of shot you're gonna wanna do with it. I think you're mostly just gonna wanna fly either straight up, straight forward, or straight to the side, because basically that will help everything stay a little bit more stabilized. So one of the things that I don't like that much about this is that once you lose connection on your phone, whenever you go outside the range of your phone's Wi-Fi, is that you lose connection completely. Like the that is not here. It just freezes wherever you are. The nice thing is that the controller itself still has connection and I'm still able to fly it. Overall, oh boy, yeah, it's really lost a lot of power now that we're on the lower end of the battery. So you'll see that after I do some maneuvers, it's just gonna lose altitude. And even with me pushing all the way up on the throttle stick, it's gonna have a lot of hard time to recover. We're gonna have to go review the footage, honestly, before I'm able to say that I like this drone or I don't like this drone. So let's go do that since all of our batteries are now depleted.
So Jesse, after flying it and looking at the footage, do you think this will replace the Mavic for you?
No, I was very hopeful, right? Because an $80 drone would make my life so much better, right? To just not be worried about it, to just be like, yeah, drone, whatever, throw it. It would be a godsend, but unfortunately the footage you're getting is just so unusable.
Why is that?
It's just too shaky, it's just too, you need a gimbal on a drone. That's the end of the story there, is that you need to have a stabilized gimbal on the drone because the drone has to be doing all sorts of flight maneuvers in order to maintain a position. Yeah. So if you wanted to stay in a location and the wind's blowing, you needed to point into the wind. All of a sudden now your shot's all thrown off. Yeah, it's just unviable. I was really hopeful, but unfortunately this is just a toy. It's definitely fun, so it'd be great for kids. Other than that, you'd really, I think you'd have to put it on a dolly itself, you know, just use the camera.
So how'd you feel about the battery life that we got out of this?
The batteries are small, and you get a small battery life. It's not a lot. I would say it's probably about 6 to 7 minutes. I think you can keep stretching it, you just don't have the performance. It's just gonna wanna keep bobbing down to the ground. But it comes with a bunch of batteries, which is really nice. And they do have the micro SD charger on them. So if you have you know, a battery bank, you could be charging them at the same time as flying it. So that's pretty cool. Overall, the battery life isn't a killer for me because, again, this is a pretty one-trick pony.
We rate our products 1 to 10 on a 6-point scale. Battery, 8. Ease of use, 6. It didn't always respond to commands, but setup was quick. Build quality, 4. Whether or not you actually got the footage you took was up to chance. Camera, 3. Fine for a kid's toy, but not for any professional use. Unique features, 6. Value, 7. For such a low price, it could be a good buy for a young person interested in filmmaking.
Thanks so much for watching this review of the E520. Hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments down below of what you think of it, and we'll see you next time.
Now let's review.
Thanks for watching Now Let's Review. For more tech reviews, subscribe below. Please like, share, and comment any tech you'd like to see us review in the future.